California and Las Vegas, Nevada, are places certainly recognized for the extraordinary and the frequent mystery. Their histories are dazzled by the shocking tales of an emerging modern era, all obscured by the rolling sand, scorching sun, and flickering neon. In Death Valley National Park, there lies the racetrack playa, where an oddity has baffled the public and scientists alike for decades. There are stones there that seemingly move on their own, where activities evade the watchful eye, all that they leave behind being the peculiar tracks in the soil. Theories on the occurrence have ranged from magnetic flux to the influence of aliens. Perhaps one is rightful to let the imagination wander, being that just nearby, the same state houses other surprises, like the Blythe in Talios, another strangeness in the sand. However, efforts have been made to find a logical reasoning for what became known as the sailing stones of Death Valley. In 1948, the first ideas came from the work of geologists Jim McAllister and Alan Agnew, who proposed that the stones may have been pushed by strong winds like dust devils or the occasional flooding. On that basis, another geologist in 1952 went out to test their theories himself. He soaked the area around the sailing stone with water and simulated gusts with the wind created by a plane propeller. Despite his attempts, the rocks never moved. Rising doubts towards these theories grew as scientists began to consider other possibilities in the 1970s to 1990s. Acknowledging the cold weather in the playa during winter, many came to believe that ice sheets may have been responsible for the sailing stones. Through multiple inconclusive experiments, experts were led to settle on a combined theory that accounted for the influence of ice sheets while wind blew on the rocks. However, digital simulations and models concluded that it would take winds up to hundreds of miles per hour to impact the frozen rocks, as theories suggested. This would be an occurrence far too improbable and infrequent to explain the sailing stones. Instead, alongside a group of researchers, planetary scientist Ralph Lorenz, who had heard about the stones in 2006, began to reconsider what was understood about the rocks and proposed a new model for their activity. He observed how the tracks of the sailing stones seemed at times to curve towards one another, but then bounce away. However, the rocks had never come quite close enough to touch. This led the researchers and Lorenz to believe that the ice sheets may be formed in collar-like structures around the stones. In 2011, they published a paper that would explain how the stones would be shifted by these collars. As ice would form in the playa's colder months and gradually melt, the sailing stones would be suspended on a layer of water by an ice collar at their midsection. At just the most mild of breezes, the stones would be pushed, causing their bottoms to scrape against the ground and leave a prevailing track in the mud after the water and ice would evaporate. So although the sailing stones of Death Valley may not be pushed by seemingly magical forces beyond our comprehension, their scientific explanation surely places themselves amongst the other wonders of California and Las Vegas, Nevada. And perhaps we may one day solve those other mysteries of the American West, if we're willing to get our feet a little wet.